Growing up in the wilds of Africa is tough, especially when you've lost your mother. But these little orphans are getting a second chance at life. A special group of people with big hearts and a love for all things wild help rescue, heal, and rewild these baby animals. Some require urgent medical attention, while others need to learn how to feed, rebuild their confidence, and some just need a little love to develop and grow. This is Wild Orphan Rescue. It's spring in South Africa, and this year's baby season is in full swing. Motherhood in the wild is especially tough. There are many threats, and in today's changing landscape, human-animal conflict and organized wildlife crime is on the rise. One animal is so badly targeted by poachers, even its rehabilitation needs to be kept secret. Emma Deyacha from Umoya Kulula Wildlife Center arrives at an undisclosed location to feed a very special orphan, a pangolin called Lily.
Good morning, Lily. Hello, are you ready to go for your walk?
Lily was recently rescued during an armed sting on the illegal wildlife trade. She was found barely alive inside a tiny box packed up ready for transport.
So Lily was in captivity for 2 weeks. She was so sick when she came in. When a pangolin comes in from the trade, they're normally quite emaciated as they don't eat in captivity. So it's been really important that she is eating very well every night and that she's either sustaining or gaining weight each night.
Before and after each walk, Lily is weighed to keep track of her vitals. Only when she can maintain an optimum weight of around 15 kilograms will she be ready for release.
Alrighty, let's get your lights on. Should we go red tonight?
Pangolins are surprisingly fast, so Lily is fitted with a night light, which allows Emma to keep track of her in the dark and give her space to forage. Tens of thousands of pangolins are poached every year, killed for their scales for use in traditional medicine, and their meat, which is considered a delicacy.
These animals are the most trafficked animal in the world. Poachers are always taking them out for their scales, so they're really important that we're saving these guys and getting them back out into the habitat.
And Lily is especially important.
She also is really extra special pangolin because she's pregnant, so we're not even saving one, we're saving two with her. So everything's going really well with the baby, and fingers crossed we'll get her back out before she actually gives birth.
One of the biggest issues with rehabilitating pangolins is that they're very fussy eaters. Both the size and abundance of ants and termites needs to be just right. So finding the perfect nest can take time, especially when you're feeding for two.
We've been walking for about 20 minutes now, and we're looking about 5 to 6 hours, depending on Lily tonight. We walk until she's done. So it's a long walk, and like anything, it's on Lily's terms, but it's worth it definitely to get her one step closer back out into the wild.
Such long hours means Emma and the volunteers take turns on night shift. Pangolins have very poor eyesight, so they rely on their excellent sense of smell to track down their food. Once the right nest is found, Lily uses her long claws to excavate the opening. Without teeth, she uses her tongue, which is longer than her entire body, to slurp up the ants and termites. Lily only eats for around a minute at a time to make sure she leaves enough in the nest to return and raid it again another night. It's going to be another long walk for Emma, but it's critical for Lily and her baby to build up their strength before their release. During baby season, each new day brings with it new challenges. Over at the Vervet Monkey Foundation in northern Limpopo, 2 new arrivals are in critical condition. Veterinary nurse Josie Humble runs the sanctuary and has pioneered a new approach to vervet rehabilitation. In just 6 weeks, orphaned newborns are provided initial care and taught to feed themselves before they're introduced to foster mums from existing troops.
So these monkeys are wild animals, and it's something that we always need to remember in the rehabilitation process. We want to do what's best for those orphans, and we believe that that is to get them as wild as possible, as quickly as possible, without human interference. We need them to live like nature intended, as themselves in a wild state.
But new babies can only start this program once they're discharged from the center's special care unit, where Josie and the volunteers are providing 2 new special orphans with 24-hour attention.
Okay, how's he doing today?
Much better.
But he's doing okay?
Enjoying the grapes. Avocado, not so much.
Okay, good. I just want to have a check of him. He did put on a bit of weight in the last couple of days, which is good. Considering he didn't eat or drink very much until yesterday, then that's really good.
When he was eating, it was just passing straight through.
So Tony's story, he was actually found completely cold by the side of the road. He was extremely thin, dehydrated, curled up in a ball, kind of just ready to die. We don't know what happened to his mum. We presume she's been killed or died. And he was just at the point his little body had given up. He literally became very, very limp and weak. His eyes glazed over. We thought we were losing him. We really needed to get his body functioning again. When he first arrived, he couldn't tolerate any milk formula at all. He had to have purely electrolytes. He wasn't digesting any foods, even though he'd had the rehydration.
Only a selection of special fruits with specific digestive enzymes could stabilize Tony long enough to get milk into his system.
So the first thing we need to do is get these orphans on a bottle. Obviously, usually they're used to their mum's teats and not a bottle, so that already is a learning process for them.
Rather than a formula made with cow's milk, Josie uses a soy milk formula along with probiotics to make it easier for Tony to digest.
He likes us making the lip smacking noise. Kind of mesmerises him a bit. Hope their mums would do. That's a good feed. Happy with that? You can have your grape back. He uses it as a little dummy, I'm sure he just likes to suck on it. There you go. There you go.
Incredibly, despite being so close to death, Tony continues to improve every day.
He's actually come back to life, which is absolutely amazing.
But his new little friend isn't doing so well.
And then there we are. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so this is Pascal, and as you can see, he's got very sore eyes, and he's got quite a sad story. His mum was actually stoned to death in the trees and apparently eaten in front of him. As soon as he arrived, he started to grab his face. He was extremely stressed when he came in, and you can see he's actually scratched along his eyes. It became quite apparent that he literally has quite a lot of trauma and distress, so when somebody even touches him, then he'll literally pull at his face and dig his nails into his face, and he's making these scratches a lot worse. So we are putting cream on there to soothe it, and we're trying to calm him as much as we can. He is drinking good, which is great. He doesn't have diarrhea, but he was very distressed on arrival. You can see the area where his umbilical cord was here. So he's quite young, and he doesn't have any teeth yet either. So he was probably only really not even 2 weeks old.
Only when Tony and Pascal don't rely on 24-hour special care can they join the rest of this year's orphans in the next stage of rehabilitation. As the temperatures start to increase, so do the calls for help. Down at Wild and Free Rehabilitation Center on the banks of the Crocodile River, things are already starting to heat up. Deirdre and one of her senior volunteers, Jean, receive an emergency call for a pregnant warthog in trouble at a nearby residence. And with temperatures already reaching over 45 degrees, there is no time to waste.
There's a baby warthog just lying down, so we're just quickly going to have a look. The problem is, as soon as you start approaching that baby or want to help the baby, the mom can attack you. So we just need to keep our eyes on mommy.
Hello. How are you guys?
Genet.
Good. Where's the little guy? That's all.
The warthog has found refuge under their barbecue and already started to give birth.
She scratched everything out last night.
She's still in labor.
Still giving birth.
Female warthogs can have up to 4 piglets at a time, and this mother is still in labor. But one of her newborns doesn't appear to be moving.
Can you see if it's breathing, Jean?
Can you go a little bit closer?
No, just go closer.
It's going to be very difficult with replacing this one.
John must be cautious. When threatened, warthogs can reach speeds of 48 kilometers per hour, and their razor-sharp canine tusks can cause serious damage.
You can do many rescues, but if you go in like a cowboy, you can be killed. You first, your safety first, and then the animal's safety.
No, it's not breathing.
Is that?
Tragically, one of the piglets hasn't made it.
According to the homeowners, another warthog came in and attacked the mom while giving birth.
In the wild, it's not uncommon for rogue males to kill newborns in an attempt to mate with the female and guarantee only their bloodline survives.
There's nothing we can do here. She's still in labor, and if we interfere now, we are put the rest of the babies in danger, even herself, because the babies can get stuck. It's a very fine line, when do you interfere and when do you leave it? And this is one of the cases where I felt we don't need to interfere here. It's Mother Nature, it's taking over, and we just need to step away.
The warthog mother will stay in this makeshift den for the next few weeks until she's delivered all her piglets and they're strong enough to venture out. For now, she and her little one need to rest. Over the next few days, John will return to check up on their progress. In the wild, many babies cannot survive without their mother's support and protection, let alone get a second chance of life with a new family. At South Africa's first elephant orphanage on the borders of the Kruger National Park, one baby albino elephant is finally ready to meet her new herd. At only 4 months old, little Khanyisa was found alone and trapped in a man-made snare. The wire nearly decapitated her, but thanks to local wildlife vets, along with the devoted carers at herd, Khanyisa managed to survive.
Where she was from the first day to now, it's actually unbelievable. She taught so many people, and people learned from what she went through, but she kept going. And that was amazing actually to see and experience and walk next to her to see that. Khanyisa means sunshine, and I think she brought so much sunshine in so many people's, but also the herd's life.
After several months of healing, she is now confident enough to venture outside the orphanage to meet her new family, who live just next door. This is the Jabulani herd, a family group of elephants made up of other orphans that came through the rehabilitation program. Each morning, a team of experienced handlers take all 16 elephants from their overnight stables for their daily walk through the reserve.
Okay, boy. Yeah, boy.
Today, Khanyisa is allowed to tag along to see if her new family will accept her. And she can't contain her excitement. It's a big day for the baby calf, so Adine will catch up with Khanyisa later to check on her progress. Without her mother, the little calf needs to be bottle-fed over 20 liters of milk a day and today Kansani is on milk duty. Elephant milk is not easy to come by, so Herd works with nutritional experts to create a supplement, and it all starts with dung. Once sieved and strained, the adult droppings release natural probiotics that help settle Kanyisa's stomach and prevent diarrhea. Kansani then adds precise measures of proteins, amino acids, calcium, and fats to provide Kanyisa with everything she needs to grow. As she develops, so does the mixture of her milk. With the bottle packed, Adine is eager to find out how little Kanyisa is doing.
We're off to meeting the elephant herd with Kanyisa. They are on the eastern side of the reserve.
The herd can walk over 30 kilometers a day in search for food and water, but the little calf still needs a bottle every 2.5 hours. Kanyisa will only wean off milk at the age of 4, so she has plenty of time to watch and learn from the older elephants.
They're the ones that she needs to copy. She's actually, looking up to them. At the end of the day, if you reintegrate them back into the wild, it will be without humans. So she needs to be a real elephant. And that's amazing to see how she develops in one as well with the herd.
For the handlers to bottle feed Kanyisa safely, it's important to try and get her away from the herd, as the elder females are already feeling protective over the young calf.
So there's a predator coming in or anything that is strange or out of the norm, they'll come and protect. She's safe with them. That just shows you that they actually accepted her 100% as their own. That is for me beautiful to see that.
It's a huge success and a great step forward in Kanyisa's rehabilitation.
The herd accepted her completely, but they're also very protective, and that is amazing. I think humans have so much to learn from these elephants in how they look after each other.
Adine and the devoted carers, along with the support of the Jabulani herd, are helping to heal Kanyisa's physical and emotional wounds. And for 2 other traumatized orphans, their journey of recovery is just about to begin. Over at the Vervet Monkey Foundation, Tony and Pascal have been discharged from critical care and can finally move on to the next step of their rehabilitation.
So that's kind of our fun area. It's the area where they get to explore, they get to play with other babies, and they learn how to feed off a bottle.
Despite being so close to death, Tony is now putting on weight and becoming more curious every day. And after witnessing his mother's murder, Pascal has stopped clawing at his eyes and he's beginning to heal. Here, they join 8 other baby orphans that arrived earlier this season, all with similar tragic stories. In this safe space, they learn to be more confident, play, explore, and feed themselves while still having the comfort of touch and protection all babies deserve. In the next 6 weeks, they'll be introduced to foster mums from existing troops and integrated into large semi-wild enclosures before their eventual release. Having the support of family in the wild helps the baby animals to learn, develop, and grow. Down at Wild and Free, Jean wants to find out if the pregnant warthog has given birth to any more piglets.
Alright, we're at the house where the warthog gave birth to the babies. We're just coming to do a checkup and see how the babies are doing.
But the warthog's makeshift den is not as busy as expected.
It's still just the one baby.
Just the one baby. But the one is getting stronger in the legs now.
Oh yeah, you can see.
She's walking around when the mother is out.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
The remains of her sibling have also gone, most likely eaten by their mother so not to attract any hungry leopards or lions to their den. But being an only piglet does have its perks. more milk.
How long will she be drinking from the mother?
Probably another 5 weeks you can say. Even after they've moved out, she'll still suckle now and then from mom, yeah.
To help the mother build up her strength and produce enough milk, the residents keep her well fed from a safe distance. Warthog mothers are fiercely protective of their young and won't hesitate to attack. With shelter and food readily available, they'll remain here for the next few weeks until the little piglet is strong enough to explore. Eventually, the mother will need to find another den and they'll disappear back into the wild, where her piglet can learn to graze and forage for roots and tubers. As one newborn starts to explore the world for the first time, another is ready to begin their new adventure back in the wild.
Tonight is the night we are releasing Lily, our pregnant female pangolin. We're really excited about tonight, actually, to be honest, because she came in, we've been working for her with a few months now, and really blood, sweat and tears has gone into this pangolin. We've been walking her every night, making sure she's eating, gaining weight. But we really have pushed her to get her back out into the wild before she gives birth. It's super important. We do not want her to have this baby in captivity. We want her to have it out in the wild where it belongs.
Emma has found a secret release site far away from any predators and, more importantly, humans. A place where Lily can raise her pango pup in peace.
This is the area that we're going to release her in. Perfect area, lots of ants and termites and all that lovely stuff. So she's got her tags on there. So I'm just going to pick her up. Are you ready, sweetheart? I'm going to walk her a little bit further out into the perfect place to sit her down. Ooh, what about here? What do you think? And there you go. Yeah? Think you like it here? Lily is wearing beautiful jewellery, very expensive jewellery in fact, in the sense of satellite tags and telemetry tags.
Being nocturnal solitary creatures, very little is known about pangolins. These satellite tags will provide Emma and researchers with invaluable data on their movements, feeding patterns, and territories. For the next year, they'll be able to monitor Lily and her baby's progress in the wild, after which her tags will be removed.
This is the reward for all our hard work. We work long days and long nights, and to see an animal, and not just one animal, 2 animals, get released back out into the wild, and when the threat on them is so huge, I can't actually explain the feeling. It's overwhelming, and it makes you realize you're actually making a difference, and not only to this animal's life, but to the population and to conservation, which is really our aim in the end.
As Lily picks up the scent of food, Emma can only watch as she disappears into the night.
This is such an amazing animal, and they have been through so much before they came to us, and we just want to make sure that she thrives and that she carries on like this was all just a little blip in her life.
Here in her new home, Lily will find a burrow and get ready to give birth, where her pup can grow up wild and free. Growing up in the wilds of Africa is tough, especially when you've lost your mother. But these little orphans are getting a second chance at life. A special group of people with big hearts and a love for all things wild help rescue, heal, and rewild these baby animals. Some require urgent medical attention, while others need to learn how to feed, rebuild their confidence, and some just need a little love to develop and grow. This is Wild Orphan Rescue. By the middle of spring in South Africa, the animal rehab centers are at full capacity, and it's time for some of the older residents to make way for the new arrivals. Just 60 kilometers from the border of the Kruger National Park, we find Umoya Kulula Wildlife Center. This non-profit rehab center is open to all of South Africa's orphaned wild animals, from the very large babies to the cute and cuddly. And this morning, owner Emma Dayaga is coming to say goodbye to 3 orphaned warthogs she's hand-raised for the last 18 months.
Hello. Hi. Okay, where's the others? Okay. No name, Patricia, come on. No name, Patricia, come on. So we're just gonna feed the warthogs. We have 3 warthogs in here, 2 males and 1 female. These guys are getting ready for release tomorrow, so we're super excited. They've been with us for about 1.5 years. They will actually be going into a boma, so they can get used to the surroundings. A boma is a structure where we can put them in just so they can feel calm, get settled, and then after a week or so, we'll let them out to explore their new home. Percy came into us and he is teeny tiny.
Percy was only a week old when he was found abandoned by the side of a swimming pool, while Patricia was kept as a pet for a year, living, sleeping and eating with the residents' dogs. But No Name arrived in the worst condition.
He was one of the worst animals that's actually ever come into the centre. He was kept in a predator park. He was emaciated, he was dehydrated, he hadn't been given the right diet because they had just shoved him in with some tigers. I don't know how he made it. All he had to eat were the scraps that they had, so just a bit of meat here and there.
Warthogs are omnivores, but meat only makes up a tiny part of their diet. So without plenty of grasses and roots, they can't survive.
He had a lot of deficiencies, rickets being one of them. His legs were completely bowed at the back and he would walk a couple of steps and then completely buckle down, and it was absolutely heartbreaking to see. And he was petrified of us. You know, all he knew from humans was pain and suffering. So it really took a long time to gain his trust.
Despite their different and tragic starts in life, Percy, Patricia and No Name have grown up together at Umoya and developed into strong, healthy and happy warthogs. Emma has found a private game reserve far away from any humans and predators, where all 3 can be released together.
So today is the day that we are finally releasing our 3 warthogs. So we're going to get them in the boxes and then we can get them to the release site.
But before they can take them to their forever home, Emma and the team first need to catch them. Despite being hand-raised, these are still wild animals, and a warthog is not something to mess around with.
Right, let's just grab the next one.
Now fully grown, they each weigh over 100 kilograms, and when threatened, warthogs can reach speeds of nearly 50 kilometers per hour. While their long, razor-sharp canine tusks, which they use to excavate roots and tubers from the ground, can also cause serious damage. So Emma has a plan.
They are food orientated, so we're going to use some food to try and lure them in the boxes, and then once we've got them in the boxes we can then take them over to the release site. Right, so first we actually are going to try and bait these guys into these travel boxes. We have corn here, it's their favourite thing. So Catherine's going to open this one and we're just kind of going to show them what we have. This is, yeah, and I'm going to throw it right back there. We might need a couple more. What's this? Up high. So they're a little bit hesitant. It's always weird going into a dark kind of space that they're not used to, but I'm hoping their tummies will, okay. All right, bring that one down. Lovely. Okay, 1 quart, 2 to go. Let's move on to this one. Ferdinand, do you want to grab this door? Percy has gone in first, which is great. I'm not surprised. He loves his food. So yeah, he's in.
Next up is Patricia.
Okay, stop bringing it. Oh, so close. Sorry guys, that was me. Come on, Patricia.
After watching Percy, Patricia needs some extra encouragement.
Okay, I'm gonna try going around from the other side. Yeah, that's it. Come here. What's this? What's this? Yeah. We good? Okay, number 2.
And now for No Name, the biggest and strongest of the 3.
He's the big one, and out of the 3, he's the naughty one. Oh, getting a little angry in there, so let's see if we can get him in. No Name. Come on, Soupy. Oh, I think you need to go higher if you can. What's this? Hiya. Okay. Oh, yep, that's okay. So we've got 3 warthogs. They're not too happy to be in the boxes, so we're going to load them straight away onto the vehicles and get them to the release site.
But No Name is not going down without a fight.
Good boy, you okay?
And he wants out.
Oh no! Oh, No Name! Oh, as you can see, warthogs are ridiculously strong animals, and he did not want to go in this box, and he has destroyed a pretty strong travel box. So like always, we have to make 100 plans with animals, so plan 2.
Despite the breakout, there is no time to waste. As the day heats up, so will the temperatures inside the crates. It's critical they get Percy and Patricia to the release site as quickly as possible.
Literally, with the stress, the heat and the movement, it just can become too much for animals, and they can really, really suffer from it. So we have to be very careful and keep a very close eye on them.
As Catherine and the volunteers try to recapture No Name, Emma goes on ahead. It's a race against time to get the other 2 to the release site. The goal for all the rehab centers is to get these orphans back into the wild as soon as possible. But finding a safe release site is not always easy, especially for the predators. Situated in the shadows of the majestic Drakensberg Mountains, we find Moholoholo. This center has paved the way for wildlife rehabilitation for the last 30 years.
Come and meet them. Yes, you come and meet them.
Here, Brian Jones and his team of highly trained staff help care for injured and orphaned animals of all shapes and sizes. Today, one of the center's senior staff, Nikita Jackson, is about to prepare breakfast for 3 orphaned leopard cubs. These youngsters were discovered in an abandoned tunnel. Their mother was nowhere to be found, most likely killed by hunters or local farmers protecting their livestock. Too old for milk, and without their mother to hunt for them, it's now up to the staff at Moholoholo to care for these cubs until their release. Each day, Nikita prepares 2 kilograms of meat for each cub, the equivalent of 14 hamburgers every day.
So when they're small, especially with baby predators, you have to be on top of increasing them. They grow incredibly fast. So this is about the size we feed to our adult leopards and cheetahs and wild dogs and things. Because they're not adult yet and they're only juveniles, I'm cutting it to make it half the size.
Supplements and nutrients are also added to make sure the cubs stay healthy and strong. Leopards are nocturnal predators, so they normally hunt and feed at night. During the day, the 3 cubs hide out in this small makeshift den within their temporary enclosure. They may be young, but they're still very wild, scared and unpredictable. Pound for pound, leopards are Africa's strongest cats. So Brian has created the special predator-proof enclosure to ensure no one gets hurt. First, Brian checks to see if the cubs are in their den, before Becky uses an external pulley system to contain them inside. Only then can Nikita secure and enter the feeding compound.
You never be too sure if the leopard is in here, hiding.
Every corner is double-checked to make sure no leopard is still loose.
Okay, safe.
Explosively fast and powerful, leopards can take down prey 3 times their size. So all these precautions are a matter of life or death for the staff. Once the feeding bowls are replenished and Nikita is clear, Brian enters the main enclosure to check on the cubs while Becky quickly cleans up any mess.
We just check carefully, nothing, no one out. Okay, 4-3. You can come in.
4-3.
So the milk teeth are coming out.
Time inside the enclosure is kept to an absolute minimum, so not to aggravate the cubs.
Lovely whiskers, eh? Yes. The one on the right's the most complete. The one male, I think he's in the middle. He's a really naughty one. Yeah, the one is snarling. He's the one that's got a lot of cheek.
Once everyone is clear, the security doors are locked and the pulleys released so the cubs can feed and explore at their own leisure. Considering their age and wild state, it's vital that the cubs are set free as soon as Brian can secure a safe release site at a nearby game reserve. Once free, the cubs can learn to hunt and survive on their own. While leopards are solitary creatures, some animals need to live together in large groups to survive in the wild. Which means some orphans need to create new family bonds before they can be released. Hidden within the vast citrus farms of Litsitele in Limpopo is one of the world's first primate rehabilitation centers. Welcome to Riverside. Built by their own hands, Bob, Lynn, and their son Mies created the sanctuary. The center houses 8 large, semi-wild rehabilitation areas, food prep, quarantine, and its own clinic, along with 2 nurseries. Monty houses the juvenile baboons, while Georgie is the nursery for the baby vervets. Over the last couple of years, Mies has seen an exponential growth in orphan primates arriving at the center.
The orphan can come in because the mother actually abandoned the animal. That does happen, where the mother would know that there's something wrong.
But the biggest cause of orphaned animals is human conflict. Despite playing a critical role in seed dispersal throughout South Africa, chakma baboons and vervet monkeys are still considered pests, often raiding farms and homes in the search of food.
If we look at the amount of animals that are being killed and the amount of orphans that we get as a result of that, then there is something really, really wrong out there. And that is what we need to address. We need to make sure that the public at large understand exactly what is the fundamental role of these animals in nature. But again, for us as humans, it's much easier to eradicate the problem than actually find a proper solution to it. And in the process, we're actually causing irreparable damage to the ecosystem.
Today, Mies and his team of volunteers need to move all 15 baby vervets that arrived last season into their new enclosure.
All baby vervets that are in here now, their average age should be 1 year, and that makes them ready to move to the next stage. I think you can kind of say it's moving from creche to primary school.
But first, each one needs to be checked, weighed, and measured to make sure they are developing properly and ready to move on to the next step of their rehabilitation. The data from each vervet is recorded and filed for research and reference throughout their time at the center.
3.1. These morphological measurements
is really important because that is going to give us a really good indication how well this animal actually have grown.
48. 4.4.
2 down, 13 to go.
6.6. 5.5.
8.6. Now we're going to measure the total body length of the animal. 4 incisors top, 4 incisors bottom.
Once all 15 baby vervets move into this temporary introduction enclosure, they can familiarize themselves with their new surroundings before they are set free into a large semi-wild forest, where they'll create a troop of their own in preparation for their final release back into the wild.
That is what we are all about. That is why we are doing what we are doing. Ultimately, the primary objective of Riverside is the survival of a species.
Unfortunately, some rescued animals can never be released. Ex-pets that are too tame or orphans with permanent injuries cannot survive alone in the wild. But these animals can still play a very important role as ambassadors for education and conservation. Hidden along the borders of the Kruger National Park, we find Daktari, one of South Africa's first bush schools and wildlife orphanages. Owner Michelle Merrifield founded this NGO over 15 years ago to create an immersive experience for underprivileged children to learn and be inspired about their natural heritage.
Most of the animals we welcome are injured or orphaned, so when we can, we release them. The one who cannot be released, then we keep them so they have a good life, and also because they serve as an educational purpose. The objective is also to teach the benefit of protecting the environment. So they need to learn and to understand why should they protect it.
Each week, Michelle and her team of volunteers run a 5-day program in which children from surrounding communities live and interact with rehabilitated local wildlife, as well as learning about conservation and environmental issues to try and help change the mindset of future generations.
We know the message is passing through and has an impact on the children, because we also have a lot of youngsters who are adult now who came and who work in nature conservation.
Yes, well done.
Surrounded by expensive private game reserves, most of the children that come here have never seen a wild animal before.
You can stroke
So even the center's most domestic residents can be a life-changing experience.
Can you be patient? Just come and stroke him. You see how fluffy and cute. You see? Can I put it in your arms now? Yes. Okay. Yes. On your chest.
Oh my god,
It's okay. It's okay. On your chest. Look at that. No. I got you. I got you. Are you okay? Yes. Look, he's so happy. He's so happy with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, calm down.
You see?
Patience, a local volunteer and ex-Daktari student, is now one of the teachers running the courses.
When I first came here at Daktari, I didn't know much about animals. I was scared of almost everything. So being able to share the knowledge with them and see them enjoying and wanting to learn more, like I'm so happy to share my experience with them.
Hi everyone.
The program not only teaches children about nature, but also gives them a voice.
I was not be able to speak in front of people. I was the shyest person ever. So I think not only just for them to see what we have here, but also to build their self-esteem and confidence to be able to express their opinions.
The children discover that actively taking part in the daily care of wild animals is the best way to help inspire them to protect wildlife.
I didn't know so many wild animals. I just saw them on TV, saw them on magazines, newspapers, and I thought they were just things. As soon as I came here, I knew that these animals are very much important. These animals have been here before us, and we totally have to love these animals, respect them, as much as we want them to respect us.
When you have emotion and you can transfer them through caring for an animal, what you develop in a kid is magic, because suddenly they realize, oh, maybe I can kind of communicate kindness with this animal. I'm going to do something good. For me, it's the nicest gift. It gives the real purpose to my life.
For Patience, Michelle, and the other volunteers, their aim is to inspire change. If just one student feels empowered to raise awareness about the environment within their family, their school, or even their community, then we are one step closer to living in a world where all animals and humans can learn to coexist. Back at Umoya Kulula Wildlife Center, Emma and the Warthogs arrive at the release site. This large private game reserve has plenty of space for the warthogs to run wild, and most importantly, no predators or humans.
Okay, so we are here at the release site, absolutely stunning. This is the boma here on the right hand side, so we're just going to get these guys offloaded into the boma, and then we're going to just let them out and they can relax here a little bit first. There we go. Let's just grab the other one.
Despite his valiant escape, the team recaptured No Name, and now all three are about to be released into their soft release enclosure. They'll remain here for a few days within the reserve to give them time to adjust to their surroundings.
Lovely, good, okay. So it's beautiful in here, lots of grass and lots of shade. So we're gonna let these guys out to explore. Okay. Oh, hello. So there's Percy. What do you reckon, Percy? And Patricia. No Name. They seem really calm, they're eating, which is a great sign, and I think we're just going to spend the rest of the day just exploring and smelling and listening. There's lots of new sounds and experiences that they've not had, so it's all going to be quite new to them.
As all three of the warthogs settle into their new home, it's a big moment for Emma to see No Name back in the wild.
I'm so proud of him because we got to watch him through those stages, from the beginning of this completely broken animal to what he's become today, and let him live his life, which he's meant to, and hopefully not have to see a human again. That's really what we want from them.
After a week of acclimatizing to their new environment, the screens will be removed, and Percy, Patricia, and No Name will once again roam free. Growing up in the wilds of Africa is tough, especially when you've lost your mother. But these little orphans are getting a second chance at life. A special group of people with big hearts and a love for all things wild help rescue, heal, and rewild these baby animals. Some require urgent medical attention, while others need to learn how to feed, rebuild their confidence, and some just need a little love to develop and grow. This is Wild Orphan Rescue. It's spring in the wilds of Africa, and as many welcome the new baby animals into the world, some creatures, like baboons, are still considered vermin in South Africa. So at this time of year, there is an endless stream of orphans that need help. Nestled along the banks of the Olifants River in the heart of Balule Nature Reserve in Limpopo, we find Care, one of the world's first baboon rehabilitation centers. Created back in 1989 by Rito Melio, this 12-hectare sanctuary cares for over 400 orphaned, injured, and displaced primates. Rita became the first person in the world to raise and form a troop of orphan baboons, and has since released over 12 rehabilitated troops back into the wild. Tragically, in 2012, a devastating fire tore through the center, and while volunteers managed to rescue 34 baby baboons from the flames, Rita sadly lost her life. Her legacy, however, lives on. Rita entrusted her life's work to animal care expert Stephen Monroe, a dedicated baboon researcher with over 15 years' experience working at care.
Baboons, you gotta respect them as a species. Yes, they can cause trouble, they can be a nuisance on farms and houses, etc. But realize that they do play an important role in the ecosystem and that you can live with them to a certain extent.
Stephen now runs the center with his partner Samantha Dewhurst, living on-site with their young daughter Sophia. Together with a team of caring and devoted volunteers, they continue to refine Rita's pioneering approach to primate rehabilitation, which keeps the orphans wild, nurtured, and in a more natural setting until their release. To facilitate this new program, Stephen and Samantha built 3 new, large semi-wild enclosures, a new clinic, nursery, and 3 new bonding rooms where orphaned infants are introduced to surrogate baboon mothers. This morning, Samantha is prepping milk for this year's orphans and 1 new baby baboon that arrived just a few weeks ago. Flo is one of the first orphans to enjoy the center's new state-of-the-art nursery with a one-way viewing window, sleeping quarters, and a large, spacious play area. Now 2 months old, Flo is becoming more curious and confident every day, but like many of the orphans here, her start in life was a tragic one. Hunters on a nearby farm shot at Flo's family, killing 3 of them. As they approached, they discovered Flo still clinging on to her mother's lifeless body. Unable to kill the newborn in front of his daughter, one of the hunters handed Flo over to a concerned member of the public who brought her to care.
That baby could have grown up wild with her family, and just because someone wanted to have a little bit of fun, they've taken everything from that baby. They've taken her freedom, they've taken her family, and it's tragic because they're such social animals and they're so intelligent and they have emotions and feelings like we do. And now she's an orphan, and it's just up to us to give her the best second chance that she can have.
At this young age, it's essential that Flo be provided both physical and emotional support.
When she first arrived, she was around 3 or 4 days old, absolutely tiny. She didn't have any teeth and completely dependent. They are primates, just like humans, and they require 24-hour care. We consider their psychological development as important as their physical development, so it's really important that they have that skin-to-skin contact with a caregiver.
Flo's primary caregiver is Katu, and over the last few weeks, the two have created a very special bond.
But I've got to offer so I told Shumangas was to son, the feelings. Relationship yangana flow donga muratu ane we are touching dinner mara na demand with the phone.
It's important for Flo that Katu and the other caregivers replicate life in the wild with a baboon family.
We cannot do the job anywhere near as well as a baboon, but we have to try, so we speak their language as much as possible.
As well as feeding and playing with the babies, grooming, grunts, and lip smacking helps calm and reassure the little ones.
Baboons are amazing. We need to give them sanctuary, we need to give them a second chance.
Once old enough, adult orphans cannot be released alone. Without the support of a troop, they won't survive in the wild. It's not uncommon for established troops to reject or even kill a newcomer. Therefore, it's critical that Flo is integrated into a rehabilitated troop as soon as possible. In the next few weeks, Flo will be introduced to her new surrogate mother in the bonding rooms, and if they accept her, she will move one step closer to having a new family. During the rehabilitation process, it's crucial for the centers to try and replicate the orphan's natural behaviors in the wild. So once released, they'll be well prepared and capable of surviving on their own. Over at Umoya Kulula Wildlife Center, just 60 kilometers from the borders of the Kruger National Park, it's time for a swimming lesson with 2 baby hippos. Emma has hand-raised Hector and Hugo since they first arrived at the center when they were just a week old. Hugo lost his mother in a fight between 2 male hippos battling for territory, while Hector was abandoned after he fell off the side of a dam wall.
He came in the first day really emaciated and really sunburnt, so we had to lather him up with cream because all his skin was all cracked. But after about a week at the centre, he was doing really well.
Hector is now 9 months old and Hugo 5 months, so Emma doesn't need to apply sun cream anymore. They create their own.
This white substance, it's basically an oil they secrete through their skin, and it is sun cream, so it protects their skin, and it's also very good for repellent as well.
When exposed to full sunlight, this oil can appear red.
You can see it like glistens like gems, so people think it's blood, and you get a lot of phone calls saying a hippo's bleeding where really they're just sweating and it's just this oil coming through their skin.
Despite their homemade sunscreen, the quickest way for Hugo and Hector to stay cool is in the water. So one weekly chore for Emma and her team is to clean out Hugo and Hector's dam.
You happy hippos. Hey, Hughie.
Hippos spend up to 16 hours a day in the water, and baby hippos like Hugo can even suckle milk underwater. So it's important to keep the dam clean and fresh, especially when it's also their toilet.
Small and baby hippos will only go to the toilet in the water, whereas the adults will go on land. This is because they want to kind of hide their scent. Hippos, as you can see, need and love water. They are in fact aquatic animals, so they're in here the whole day, away from the sun, and then at night time they go out and forage on the grass. It's super important that we give them this lovely big dam, because this is where their safe territory is. This is where they feel comfortable.
Underwater, hippos close their nostrils and ears, allowing them to stay submerged for up to 5 minutes. But it appears little Hugo is still getting the hang of his buoyancy, or suffering from trapped gas.
They also absolutely love it, and they love playing in the water. So not only is it a necessity, it's also fun times for them as well.
In the next few months, Hugo and Hector will be released together to form a family pod and patrol a territory of river of their own.
Yeah, you have to breathe, sweet pea. You have to breathe. All right. Oh dear, it's okay.
For now though, this training pool is the perfect place for these 2 youngsters to safely practice their swimming. Further south at Mohuluhulu Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, a fluffy new arrival is getting hungry. Clinic nurse Becky Lambert is on her daily rounds checking on the orphans in quarantine. This 2-week-old spotted eagle owl was recently discovered on a local farm that has brought in orphans before.
There's been a pair of spotted eagle owls that have had babies every year, and they've always done really well, but this year she found him on the floor and there was actually 3 others on the nest.
Spotted eagle owls have adapted to living around towns and cities where they hunt rodents and small mammals. But the current drought has created a food shortage, and with too many mouths to feed, this fledgling was most likely abandoned. Unlike mammals, baby birds don't drink milk. Instead, they feed on their parents' regurgitated prey, so Becky must make do with small cuts of meat.
Because he's so little, I do feed him every 2 hours. He's growing so quickly, like baby birds especially grow so quickly. You want to make sure that they're getting enough energy to grow and stay alive. He'll eat and eat and eat.
To help replicate his life in the wild, this fledgling will soon be moved to a larger enclosure where he can learn to fly and feed for himself with minimal human contact. Luckily, this little one was found and brought to the center just in time, so Becky is confident he'll make it.
He's such a good baby and he's so little, unless something happens where he gets an injury, he's got like almost 100% chance of release and survival in the wild.
Within the next few weeks, the spotted eagle owl will join the other orphans that arrived this year in preparation for their release. It's vital in the rehabilitation process that the orphans are kept as wild as possible with minimal human contact. So the sooner they can be reunited with their own species, the better. Back at Care, it's a big day for Flo, the baby baboon. She is about to meet her new surrogate mothers in the bonding room. Hope and Ayana are ex-lab monkeys, rescued after being raised in captivity for scientific testing.
Ayana and Hope, the surrogate baboon mums, are actually very sweet females. So it's very easy to give them baboon babies, knowing they're going to nurture them and be good role models.
Hope and Ayana are already teaching the 5 young orphans that arrived earlier this year to keep their distance.
Once they have the babies, they're very protective. It serves a good purpose, teaching the babies not to go near humans and keep them at a nice distance from us.
It's time for Flo to meet her new family. To minimize any stress during this sensitive and intimate process, only Katu is allowed into the bonding room to accompany Flo. The access gate between the enclosures is also partially opened, so only the youngsters can come in first to investigate. It's a good start. Each day, Katu will continue to monitor Flo's interactions through the fence. Once Flo is comfortable with her new siblings, they'll fully open the gate so Ayana and Hope can come and meet the new arrival. And when she's confident enough, Flo will be allowed in. Rehabilitation can be a lonely journey, so orphans that experience it together often learn and develop quicker. So it makes it all a lot easier if you have your siblings with you. Down at Wild and Free Rehabilitation Center on the banks of the Crocodile River, Deirdre Yobad is overwhelmed with 4 new arrivals. An entire litter of baby Genets were recently found unresponsive on the floor of a local resident's home. One of Deirdre's volunteers, Alicia, has been caring for 2 of the weakest orphans.
If something happens to mom, then they start getting hungry and then they try to get out of the nest calling for mom and then they fall.
Genets are solitary fox-sized predators that live mostly in the trees. At night, they use their retractable claws, adapted for climbing, to catch birds and small mammals, which they finish off with a quick, sharp bite to the neck. But as deforestation and habitat loss continues around South Africa, Genets are having to live and find food around human dwellings. Whether their mother was hit by a car or killed by a dog, these babies were found severely dehydrated, emaciated, and just hours away from death. In their weak condition, even the slightest problem can be fatal, and many orphans died during the first few days of their rescue. Before each feed, the Genets are weighed to make sure they're putting on weight.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. I love it. And that's Thunder.
No, this is Rain. She's the bigger one of the two.
We have to weigh them to see the progress. If they lose weight, there's something wrong. If they pick up, then it's much better. 32. How much did they weigh when you got them? 22, I think.
Yeah.
22 grams. That's really good. You are worried because the one is bigger than the other one.
Yeah, this is Thunder.
He looks in good condition.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah,
He's a bit
and
smaller than the other one.
This is the one that you're worried about that drinks a little bit less now.
Yes.
A reluctance to feed could be an underlying illness, infection, or perhaps due to teething.
It's 32 grams as well.
These babies are still too young to eat meat, so they require milk every 2 hours.
We try to keep it like mom's body temperature, otherwise they will not take the bottle. And it's much better. Cold milk usually gives stomach aches and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like a normal human baby.
Wait. Let me just pause it here.
Come, doesn't recognize me. I say, she gets the hold of it.
Yeah.
This one is the busy one.
No, she's not. She's just...
Where? Come, Baba.
There you go.
Despite the allure of warm milk, Thunder is a little unsure of Deirdre.
Okay, I think you have to feed them because you know how to feed them. I'm going to put this one back.
Yeah, she's actually...
Because she's used to your smells. That's one thing.
There you go, girl.
About Genets. They imprint, but they imprint to their handler or their volunteer. And no other volunteer will be able to feed them until they release.
Once Alicia weans these two orphans off milk and they move into a large enclosure without human contact, these Genets will quickly rewild and once again fear people.
Come, sweetie. Nope. Do you want to wait a while? Oh, good girl.
So about 15 mils. Any concerns you have? Except the one that's not drinking.
Yeah, this is the one that actually doesn't drink very well, but she's doing actually quite good now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably getting her teeth now. She wants to chew more.
Yeah.
Because she wants to chew the teeth through.
Yeah.
So
she
yeah,
chews on your fingers as well.
Yes. No. So no, that's normal. That's definitely normal. And then as soon as those teeth are showing, we can start with solids.
Oh, that's good, girl.
Within the next few weeks, they can move on to their natural diet of meat and insects.
They're in good condition. Well done.
Yeah.
You're doing so well. So well.
Thunder and Rain are on the road to recovery, so Deirdre is off to check on their other two siblings being cared for by another volunteer. Once all four Genets are strong enough, they'll be reunited and moved to a large enclosure before their eventual release back into the wild. Back at Moholoholo, it's been 4 weeks since the baby spotted eagle owl was brought in by a local farmer. Thanks to Becky's around-the-clock care, the fledgling has grown into a strong and healthy owlet. He's already starting to lose his fluffy coat of white downy feathers, which will soon be replaced for a speckled brown plumage. Only once he's an adult will he be able to emit the iconic eagle owl hoot. For now, spread wings and a screech will have to suffice. In this larger enclosure, he'll learn essential skills by mock hunting and catching small insects. The perfect training for hunting rodents, small mammals, and reptiles once back in the wild. Within just 3 months, Becky will find a suitable release site where the spotted eagle owl and the other orphans can search for a territory of their own. Meanwhile, back at care, Flo has successfully been introduced to her new surrogate mother.
The integration with the adult females went very smoothly, far better than a lot of our babies have actually in the past. Flo was very confident with the females. Immediately, Hope picked her up and carried her on her belly, and that night they slept together. It's gone really well. Very pleased.
From now on, human contact with Flo is forbidden. This rewilding phase of her rehabilitation will allow Flo to become fully dependent on baboons and learn her place in the female's strict matriarchal system.
She's also learning a lot from the two adults as well. They're grooming her, they're teaching her a little bit about baboon politics and foraging, so I'm really pleased with her progress so far. To see them being nurtured by their own kind is very special, so it's a nice reward for a long process. It was through human cruelty that we ended up with Flo in our care, but thanks to humans which actually do want to do good things, we can give them a second chance, and that gives me a lot of hope for the future, that there are good people out there.
As Flo bonds with her new family, she must break all ties with her human caregivers, including Katu.
Flo di matulu chuang ane yamfuna amanda ndizidom baba chiweyo introduce waka kama ngamafen.
I'm not ready for it, but it has to happen.
For people to understand and get that connection with these orphans is really nice, because who knows what Kati will do in her future, and hopefully she can go on and be an ambassador for the species.
But karutuse rifu ripuka zinongori distrizno riafune and ziko tomo ungarangara zino patwa kuzubura. Yeah.
In the next 2 months, once she's completely weaned off milk, Flo will be released and integrated into a wild troop, where she can once again roam free.